listen. I want you to listen. Like, we're at Evolve right now. It's crazy. It's loud. It's hectic. We're in New York City. But I want you to listen to the No Holds Barred Network.
Hey guys, welcome back to the No Holds Barred Network with another episode of Under the Ropes. I'm your host as always, the EVP of Giggles, the Heartbreak Chick, the Queen of the Indies, and I'm joined by the Law, Ray Ramundo, and then we have, oh my god, I'm so excited, oh my god, the Switch Kid himself. I mean, big game Leroy. I can't even, I'm lost for words right now. You know, Ray, whatever. You can make your faces. I screw everything up, whatever. I can't even put into words.
See, I'm injured right now. Like, I got one bad knee, and I'm still just going to properly do the intro.
Ew.
So, just one sec. So, welcome everyone. My name is the Law, Ray Ramundo, and we are live for another episode of Under the Ropes, and we are joined by, he is not only a man that's been seen on Evolve, House of Hardcore, just recently AEW Dark. He is the Switch Kid, big game Leroy Green. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, just been playing some games, trying to keep a little busy. You know, stay on a little bit of a workout regimen. You know, just trying to do the things, trying to stay positive. It's crazy times, but you know, just trying to stay positive, you know.
Really, it's nuts. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Like, I'm so proud. Like, I don't even think I could do this interview. That's why Ray's here. No.
Oh man, that's why she told me to sneak out the hospital. Wow.
Sorry. Nah, so this is part 2. So it's been almost a year since Leroy's been on the podcast. I'm so excited. I mean, it's such a great feeling. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, I can't even put into words, like, how proud I am of you. Like, within the last year, all the things that you've accomplished. So, I'm so excited. So, congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Oh, my God.
No, thank you. I mean, oh, my gosh. Like, I feel like everything kind of happened. Like, I think because we did our last interview in August, and then, like, Evolve, I went viral, and then everything just blew up over the past year, really, for me. It's been crazy.
It is. It's so crazy. So, guys, if you haven't watched any episodes of Under the Ropes, I interview a bunch of independent wrestlers, referees, ring announcers, promoters. If it's out there, I'm going to have that interview with them. So we're going to get up close and personal. Kyle's in the chat. Hi, Kyle. He goes, Leroy Jenkins. You're a nut. But anyway.
Is that what happens when you do the say and merge with Sasha?
I don't. He was doing that the first episode with Leroy.
Yeah, I don't know. Leroy Jenkins, man. Like, I cannot escape that joke. I can't escape that meme. I was hearing that all throughout training. I was hearing that when I first started making my debuts and hitting the roads. I'm never gonna escape it. And then, like, because, you know, we have Sasha Jenkins, like, that's just a fusion. That's us. Yeah. We're combined. Yeah. That's our tag team name.
I love it. So we got a lot of things to cover. So let's dive right into this interview. So let's start. So it's been a year since we've chatted with you last, and all the opportunities that you have. Let's talk about Evolve.
Oh, well, Evolve. Well, that was an insane experience, to be very honest. I think, you know, it's not a secret the relationship Evolve has with NXT and WWE, and very much so it's a pipeway to NXT and WWE. As you guys have seen, a lot of guys have gone on from Evolve. Austin Theory being one of them, who a year ago was like the Evolve champion, and now he's on Monday Night Raw every single week. So we all know what Evolve can do for a lot of people's careers. So I don't think I've made it a secret. I got picked from the Evolve tryout in Brooklyn in September, I believe. Late September. That was the seminar that Ciampa and Gargano were running. Which was really cool to me because Ciampa and Gargano are guys that I very much look up to. I admire their work and respect them a ton, especially Johnny Gargano, who a lot of people have compared me to in my mannerisms and the way we try to go about being positive people. Maybe him not right now because he's kind of a jerk right now. But whatever.
Oh,
And to have those guys like specifically pick me out because Gabe Sapolsky obviously is there and a lot of the Evolve officials, but to have Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa kind of like singly pick me out and say, oh no, that's a guy that you guys have to use. That's a guy that you need to continue using is really, really awesome. That whole locker room experience was really crazy because I enter the locker room and the first person I see is Walter to my right, Chris Hero to my left, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, am I in the wrong locker room? And they're like, no, you're not. You sit right over here, kid. And I'm just like, all right, we're doing this. This is real. It's just such an insane experience. I learned so much just being in that locker room. I mean, I think I said it in our last podcast, but I just love being in locker rooms with a lot of guys who are better than me and know more than me because I feel like it's the only way I can improve because then I can just go up to someone and ask them a question, say, hey, what do you think about something that I'm doing or whatever? And the whole locker room was so helpful. There's a guy in NXT, Arturo. I forgot what his last name was, but there's a guy named Arturo who really helped me out a lot. Really cool dude. AR Fox, a guy that a lot of us know in the independents, really cool dude, helped me out. The Skulk are some of my favorite dudes in wrestling. Super positive dudes, super fun. Love to hang out with them. Whether it's Liam Gray, Leon Ruff, Adrian Alanis, all those guys, super cool dudes. Yeah, super positive, and then I just bonded with a lot of the people there. It was really cool. Sean Maluda, Anthony Green, those were guys who kind of helped look out for me in the locker room. And they could have just been like, okay, we're wrestling that guy, whatever, not a big deal. But they made a point to make sure that I felt comfortable and to make me feel at home. And I think that there's something really, really cool in that.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Matt Awesome's in the chat. He goes, I was at the November show of Evolve. That was a great showing by Leroy.
Yes, that was the second show that I wrestled at. Because the first one was I did the tryout in the morning and then literally had to. So the funny podcast thing I had to say is so after the tryout I'm in my wrestling gear because I just wrestled, and I actually wore my gear all day because I figured there's about a 3-hour gap between the end of the tryout and the show, so I might as well just wear it, not realizing that our match was going to be the after intermission, so the second half of the show. So I'm wearing my gear for about 5, I want to say maybe 6 hours, because I think our match was 7 for 8th or whatever, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I'm super nervous because I'm just and super all over the place because I'm wearing my gear all day. I think I went to the Subways in my gear. I just threw on some shorts over it and put on a hoodie, and I just went to Subways in gear. Really funny stuff. But the November show, that was really special to me. I think partly because it meant a lot for them to bring me back because there's a lot of Evolve tryout guys who maybe don't get brought back and it could just be a one-time thing. And I definitely had it in my head that might be a one-time thing, So my mindset was, okay, they brought me back. Now I have to make the most of it. Now I really have to show them something. And
Right.
then that day was a rough day, period, because that was the day that we found out about Matt, and
Right.
it was really, really tough.
Yeah.
But to me, I was kind of just I have to even go even harder because of that. I have to make sure that I make the most of this opportunity, and I know he would kick my ass if I didn't wrestle and I didn't try my best. So I knew that I had to really just push through and focus on the task at hand. Yeah, and I know a lot of the people in the locker room once they started finding out, because the news broke to a lot of us hogs earlier that day. We knew that morning, but to the locker rooms they started finding out on social media throughout the day. So the tough part was I'm sitting here in the locker room, I had my match, and then afterwards they're all just kind of going, "Oh, is this true? Is this a hoax? What's going on, Leroy?" Because I'm the only hog person in that locker room. I'm the only person who would really know, and I had to kind of keep breaking the news to everybody and keep doing that. So that was a rough day personally.
Yeah.
Professionally it was awesome. The crowd was great. Laboom, I always wanted to wrestle there. It was always a really big goal of mine, partly because Laboom is really cool. But it was a very bittersweet day, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I'm so sad that I wasn't able to be at those shows too. And it's funny because a bunch of my friends were sending me pictures of you. They were so excited.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I mean, they would come up to me and be like, "Oh, Tiffany sent me to talk to you and take a picture with you," and I would just be like, "Oh, okay, cool." Let's do it.
I'm a good fan to have, right? I always say that I'm a good fan to have. I send my friends, go get pictures with Leroy. And look where he's at now, guys. Like, see, so proud.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Like, and then again, being in Evolve, I learned so much. Guys like Ciampa, a lot of NXT guys, they take the time to be there just to really help the locker room, to really help a lot of the younger guys. I'm not trying to make it seem like I be a Debbie Downer on myself, but like Tommaso Ciampa has no reason to talk to me. But for him to like remember me and to like ask me like, hey, what are you doing with your shtick? Or hey, what are you trying to do with this? Or hey, maybe you could try this. Like it's really cool, because these are TV superstars.
Right.
Like no doubt, no exaggeration, no hyperbole, and they're going out of their way to help me out, and I think that's really cool, and I feel like that's a really positive, really awesome, uplifting experience because it's like, oh, these guys see something in me and they're really trying to help me along the way, they have no reason to, and they're just being helpful because they're good dudes.
Yeah,
it's a great thing to see, just to see that it getting paid forward, because we've seen how they grew up, like especially Ciampa, Gargano, seeing them come up in the indies, seeing how they went, and it's good to see that it carries on, like they carry on to the next generation, and it's good to see that evolution from where they started till now. But it's awesome, man. It's awesome to hear how they treated you there.
Yeah.
It's great to hear. But also, I'm going to use that as a little segue, talking about the evolution there. Let's talk about your evolution. So, for those that may not know, you had a very, very, very short instance as a referee to then becoming a manager/assistant to Cashflow Ken Broadway to finally getting in the ring and showing your talents. Can you talk to us a little bit about that evolution?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So my biggest fear with being a ref was always that I might get stuck in the role, which is no disrespect to anybody who's a ref or whatever. It's just my dream was always to wrestle, and reffing sounded cool and all, but I just also was like, I'm afraid I'm going to get stuck in this role. I'm very baby-faced. I'm very small. At the time, if I'm small now, I was way smaller back then too. So like, I was like, I'm going to get stuck in this role, and I don't want to get stuck here. I want to wrestle, and I want people to see me wrestle, and I want to be taken seriously. So the opportunity to jump into, managing Ken Broadway seemed like just a no-brainer. Like, what was I going to do? Be like, no, and just be a ref for another 2, 3, however long years. And just being around Ken, like I was just talking about learning from Ciampa and Gargano, but just being around Ken, like during that transition of him going from like, he was always going to be dope. He was always going to be a star. But like being around him as he was growing up and becoming in that role, like being ringside to his matches against superstars like Tony Nese, Zack Sabre Jr., Leo Rush, like those types of matches, being in the back with him in the locker room, like really being in there with him, I just learned so much, and like I learned I should carry myself. I learned like, hey, this is kind of like the example of how to carry yourself around amongst pros, because a lot of times Ken was the one getting to wrestle a lot of these superstars, So I was like, okay, this is how you talk to these guys. This is how you conduct yourself. This is how you wrestle them. This is the intensity and the level of professionalism you bring to the ring. So I think that was a really good experience. Everything in wrestling is a learning experience, and I think that with Ken being a ref and then being a manager, all of that before being a wrestler, like it really helped shape me, and it really helped me learn. It helped me, I don't know, it just really made me the wrestler I am today. Because I think a lot of guys, like they just get to be a wrestler, like they train for however amount of time, and they just thought, okay, here's a battle royal, go do your thing, and that you don't necessarily learn as much just jumping into a battle royal for 5 seconds versus like getting that time to be on screen, getting that time for people to see you and to kind of like, be in front of real crowds that are really seeing you and really kind of understanding who you are, what you're trying to show them. And I learned so much just doing that for like, I think I did that for about 2 years before I even started wrestling. So like, that's just a blessing and a half. And I'm grateful to Ken. I'm grateful to all of Cashflow. I'm grateful to Hog for the opportunity, obviously, as well,
So awesome. Awesome. So talk to us about AEW Dark.
Oh wow, we're going straight in.
Yeah, we're going straight in. No, we're going straight in. Like, no, I'm excited.
Like, I was just like, wow, there's at least like 5 to 6 months of quality wrestling in there that you just skipped.
See, I went around it first, and I'm like, let's build it. No, we're just going straight in.
No, we're going straight in. We're going straight in.
If we're gonna play, we're gonna play.
We're gonna play. We're dancing. Let's go.
So AEW Dark. Yeah, it was one hell of an experience, man. Like, I mean, I didn't know if it was gonna be a sure thing, going to Florida for the opportunity and stuff until pretty much the week of. And you know, of course, at this unsettling time and stuff, you kind of don't really know if you should like be trying to do stuff like that, because you're always told as an indie wrestler, you have to make the drives, you have to take the flights, you have to push yourself, you know, just for the sake of wrestling because you love this. But now it's like, is that really the safest, health conscious thing to be doing right now? And and you know, I wrestled with it for a while, you know, but to me, I was like, listen, this is an opportunity, and I know that I'm taking all the precautions, and I know once I get there, I'm on the up and ups and stuff. And, you know, I found out, you know, obviously there's coronavirus testing down there, and they were making sure that everybody, independent or not, was coming in, you know, to be used, was going to be tested and be safe, you know, to wrestle and be in that environment. And, you know, they tested us, and it was on the ups and ups. The entire locker room was super positive. I was just talking about the Evolve locker room, but the AEW locker room was amazing. Like, they were super positive. There was not a hint of bitterness or anything in that locker room. Everybody just wanted to just have the best match, have the best promos, just have fun. And I think at the end of the day, that's what I look for in terms of like wrestling. Like, I just want to have fun. I want to have good matches. I want to make people feel something when I come out, and I want to like inspire people if I can. But at the end of the day, that's what wrestling should be.
Yeah.
And you know, it was really cool. I think it was very fitting that we wrestled Santana and Ortiz, guys that me and EJ knew for years and have trained with a little bit before. And, you know, I always thought to myself, like, oh, it'd be cool to wrestle those guys, but I'm not really a tag team wrestler, so it's probably never going to happen. And then it happened. And, you know, they beat the ever-loving everything out of us, but it was an amazing experience. It was a fun experience. I'm okay. My Switch is okay. And at the end of the day, you know, you count your blessings, and you just learn, you reset, and you just hope that another opportunity comes your way and you make the most of it then.
Right.
And so far, I'm not ashamed of how we performed. I think that getting to that stage alone was a pretty decent accomplishment.
Yeah, no. You saw our video, right? We were all in Skype, and we were so excited for you.
No, yeah, it was exciting. I'm always surprised by Twitter and you guys and everybody, just like generally by the support that I get. I'm always surprised. I try not to live my life in the mindset that, oh yeah, of course people are gonna like when I'm at age, because then it's just like, I mean, I'm just not like that. But to me, it's like, I remember. So full disclosure, you know, we all know Dark is pre-taped. Full disclosure, when they announced my match, I was on the airplane on my way back home to New York. And so I'm getting like in between flights, I'm like getting all these notifications and stuff. My phone is blowing up in between flights. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Twitter has like 40 notifications. Instagram has 50 notifications. My Messenger has like 37 DMs, and half of them are for people who don't even have me added as a friend, you know? It's insane.
Wow.
And it's super positive. It's a little overwhelming. But the love from like your friends, your peers, like it just meant a lot, you know. And I think that, especially because like a lot of people, you know, a lot of the protests and stuff that started around that time, and a lot of the corona, you know, just a lot of stuff, you know, the unrest in society right now really started around that time. And for people to have a little bit of a reprieve to go, oh wait a minute, Leroy's doing this, and that's pretty cool, and we should pay attention to that a little bit, was kind of cool. I almost didn't want to promote too much, like, oh yeah, I'm doing AEW Dark, so forget your troubles, because it didn't feel appropriate. And to me, it's always been like my platform. Like, I'm a wrestler. I'm blessed to be able to do that. I'm blessed to be able to have a platform like this. But I just want to do good with it, man. And so it's like, I didn't really feel like it was the right time to be promoting myself so much, and just kind of focus on the issues at hand, the issues that I believe in, the issues that I think that people should be aware of at the very least, and having those conversations. So I was like, let me, you know, people are going to be like, oh, I'm like, the AEW Dark match is going to be there. It's going to be there. It's not going away. It's not going anywhere. And I remember the blackout happened that Tuesday, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to promote it. I think somebody promoted it, like Hokey or somebody, and I was just like, thank you. I appreciate it. I love wrestling, but I also want to live in a better world. So let's focus on taking the action to make it a better world. I don't mean to get all preachy, but like
No.
that's my
it's
mindset
true.
past week.
Yeah, it's just how it was. I feel like I felt so bad that day 'cause it's like just getting that match on Tuesday, and it was like, oh, I want to share it around, but it's like we're in that mindset of yes, it's an important thing. Congrats again, brother, but a lot of important things going on just around us that we have to also pay attention to.
Of course.
And
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you guys.
No, for sure. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Let's keep it going though. We got a little like sad here.
Okay,
let's keep it going.
go.
Let's keep it positive.
Yes.
Let's keep it going here. So you've learned the ways of the video game arts. At least that's how I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna put it in an art form here. Video game art. So do you feel adding moves or strikes, I should say, like the Hadouken, the Kamehameha, the Switcherana, does that make you unpredictable?
I would say so. Most of the time, people have no idea what I'm going to do. Half the time, I don't even know what I'm going to do going into most of these matches. I just kind of go with the flow and go with whatever I'm feeling. Like sometimes I'm feeling a little bit more Goku-y, and I want to throw a Kamehameha. Sometimes I want to try to go Super Saiyan and push my limits and do that. But then sometimes I'm a little bit more nonchalant, and I'm more focused on what I'm playing. And my opponent just happens to be there, and whatever I do, sometimes it's like I'm on autopilot, I see them throw a clothesline, and then I duck it, and then, the switch can run is coming right at them. A lot of times, the fun with this has always just been that, like, you get to have this time to come up with ideas and to come up with new things. And, like, video games and animes are very easily my inspiration, very obviously. And the fun is I get to just take, and I get to borrow, and I get to, like these things. Like, I grew up a Dragon Ball Z fan. Love it. Loved it so much. I also loved wrestling. And never did I ever think as a 6-year-old that I could combine the two and use it together and people would understand it, Because, like, you always think, oh, yeah, maybe I could throw a Kamehameha in the ring. But then it's also like, what if I do it and then there's crickets and nobody understands it? And it's like, no, not only that, when I do it, people chant the Kamehameha along with me. And I think that that's really, really powerful, really, really cool.
Isaac's in the chat. He said, yo, Leroy, where you find the cheat code? I'm trying to get a Switch right now.
Oh, my God. Yeah, the cheat code. So the crazy thing about Switches since quarantine is they're sold out.
Everybody's playing Animal Crossing.
No, because when quarantine first started, everybody's buying a ton of video games, period. Then once Animal Crossing came out, it was a wrap. But I think the issue is I read online through, I think it was IGN that told me this. They were saying that there's a lot of scalpers that are just buying Switches just to resell them on eBay and stuff for like $500, $600, which is not cool, obviously. That's why you'll see like Switches at like way above market price or whatever, and it's really not cool. But it's a tough time, It's a tough time to play video games because like you have all the downtime, but these games are so expensive now, Like I was trying to look into getting some Joy-Cons, and like they're like $100, like off of Amazon or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm not doing that.
Who would have thought that would be the inflation prices now? That's like, video games is getting inflated. Like, oh man, it's insane.
It's crazy.
Just shows you the time.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've been telling y'all for years that video games are a high-level art form, and now we know it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so we have
we're gonna call it video game arts from now on.
Seriously. So we have a fan tweet from Conrad. He goes, what are your top 3 video games of all time?
I hate this question. I never know how to answer it. There's too many. It's just like, if you tell me to just list all my favorite games, I could go on for like about 3 hours. Like that's easy. But if you tell me all time and you make it in these tiers, it's like, it depends on how I'm feeling. Like, so I'll always say Super Mario 64 is one of my all-time favorite games because it was like one of my first games. I love it. It still holds up today. Really timeless classic. 3D platforming. I don't think I need to describe it. I would say, this is where I start to cheat a little bit. I would say the Super Smash Bros. Series. I love them all so much. Especially Melee. Smash Ultimate I've been playing like nonstop. Like it's a lot of fun. Like, and then I guess after that, I'd probably say, I think I'd say Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda. Like that game,
Ooh.
I started replaying it not too long ago, and I was like, this game still holds up. This game is still like a classic. and I still love it to this day, you know.
Wow.
But then I'm also leaving off so many other games, and it hurts. It breaks my heart, and I hate when people do that to me. You put me on the spot, and I don't like it.
See, that wasn't one of my questions, so you can blame Conrad for that one.
It's the worst. Like, we always get that. Like, I even did cheap plug to my video when I did my Ask Away. It's like top anime, top video game. It's like, but there's so many.
Like, I hate tops because it's like I can tell you my favorites. I can name a list. I can tell you what's my favorite right now. Like today, I've been playing this game called Celeste. Really awesome game. I've heard amazing things about it for like the past year or so, about like how it's a good reflection on mental health and inner strife and overcoming that. Really positive game, and it's a cool platformer in a retro old school style too, which I eat that up every day. Right now I've been playing that a lot. Animal Crossing, I've had so much fun playing that for the past 3-something months. I love it so much. Xenoblade Chronicles, I just got into that on the Switch. That's been my latest purchase. And then last night I beat Streets of Rage 4, which was a lot of fun. So, there's just too much game. And that's just what I've been doing like the past 3 days.
Oh, man. Well, I guess you're gonna have to come back for part 3, and then you could give more answers then.
Yeah. Part 3 is just gonna be a video game list. That's it.
We're not gonna talk wrestling. We're gonna just talk video games. So if for the people that haven't watched part 1 of our interview with you, and all the new people that are watching now, what are some of the promotions that you've worked for?
Okay. I'm kind of excited now because I actually have way more stuff I could say than last time. So House of Glory is where I trained. It's my home promotion, you can say. That's definitely the top of the list. I've also wrestled for CZW. I've wrestled for Evolve as well. House of Hardcore. Now AEW. I've wrestled for Outlaw Wrestling, NYWC, PPW. Oh man, I don't want to forget any. If I forget one, then I'm in trouble. Pizza Party Pro Wrestling. I can't forget them. Love them to death. Really fun.
Outlaw.
Yes,
You said Outlaw, yeah.
I said Outlaw. I said House of Hardcore. I said CZW.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent. Technically excellent. Yes. It's like that's always in a place that's very fond to me, but I sort of made my debut for them, which is really cool. I believe that's it. I've wrestled for some little small. I think I wrestled for On Point Wrestling, which was in the Monster Factory once, which was cool. Where else? I think that might be it. I went to Canada, but they're not like a traditional promotion. It's produced by this production company called the Megan Brothers company. It's very similar to GoPro Wrestling, where they're not really a wrestling fed. They're more so a production company that just occasionally throws wrestling shows. So I wrestled in Canada. That was really cool. I wrestled in the Elks Lodge at the EMT show a few months ago, which was really, really fun. Don't really think that counts as a company either, though. And I think that's about it. But, feel free to quote me if I'm wrong. Someone's going to be like, you forgot this company. And
shame.
I'm so sorry.
We need the shame bell. Kyle, give me the shame bell.
Hey, he's making towns at least. We can agree on there.
Yeah.
Yes. It's easier for me to say where I've traveled. Because then it's like, oh, yeah, I've been to New York. I've wrestled in Jersey a bunch of times. I've been in PA, Canada. I wrestled in Washington, D.C. Primetime Pro Wrestling. I wrestled in Primetime Pro Wrestling. There we go. See, once I say D.C., it gets me thinking of, oh, yeah, because I wrestled Primetime Pro Wrestling. I wrestled at their first ever show. And then now seeing them blow up and being this really cool fed that's based on diversity and inclusiveness, I think that's really, really cool. And, pre-pandemic, there was a place I was trying to look to come back to. And now, pandemic, we don't know when any wrestling show is going to come back. I know GCW, ICW, Titan Wrestling are going to start throwing shows, and they have their social distancing guidelines and stuff they're trying to do. But, we still don't really know what indie wrestling is going to look like. So it's tough to say what the future is going to hold in the short term.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there you have it, though. He's making towns.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Capital Wrestling. You also wrestled.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, Capital. Oh, my God. See, they're not really Capital Wrestling anymore. They're Catalyst.
Yes.
Catalyst, I think. I think they're rebranding, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
they're rebranded. Yeah.
Okay. That's why I forgot. It wasn't like a disrespect to Capital. It was just like I was like, I don't even think Capital's a thing anymore. It's Catalyst, but had a lot of fun there. Yeah, that was when I got to wrestle the Tough Wings. I like that. I like that match a lot. So it was a fun experience. Man, it's been a crazy ride because like all those happened. Like you see, when I went viral, like a lot of these bookings came so close together because it was like almost overnight. Like overnight, it went. Oh, my schedule, I only have like 2 or 3 dates a month. Then it became, oh, now you have 6. Okay, now every weekend you're booked. And you're booked straight till December, Like from September through, I want to say till January, I was pretty much wrestling every weekend, save like literally that Christmas weekend. I wrestled pretty much every weekend. And I'm so grateful and blessed for that because that was really awesome. And I know what it feels like to go from feeling like, oh, you're just hitting up promotions and not getting used, not getting looked at, and not even opening up your response. And now it's like, oh, now you're one of those guys making the towns, getting booked every weekend, and really like having something to look forward to every week by week. I know. And then like in January, there wasn't a lot of shows going on. I told myself I was going to take a break because I had a few nagging injuries, and I was really just beaten up by the everything, and I wanted to creatively reset a little bit. And then February happened. February was supposed to. I think the first date I took was the EMT show. Then after that, I think I went to Canada early March. And then I'm trying to remember. I think after that, I think that was it. I think that was when everything got shut down.
Yeah.
I remember my last date was like March 5th. And then I think I wrestled a no crowd show for CZW late March.
Yes.
And I think that was pretty much my last date until last week.
Wow. Well, hopefully soon. Coming
Yeah,
back finally.
Again, it starts little by little coming back.
Yeah.
To at least whatever our new normal will be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should be a lot of fun, hopefully figuring out like what these shows are going to look like and stuff. I see some people get creative. I know some indies are doing like no fan shows, which I think could be really cool because you can present wrestling in a different way. Not to get too like whatever, but I do think that there's some power to what WWE and AEW are doing with like no crowd shows, and then they can really like rev it up and be a little bit more cinematic. I know that's a big buzzword right now. Oh, cinematic wrestling, but like I think that if you don't have fans, you have to try to make the most of it to make a memorable experience. It's kind of weird to watch people wrestle in front of no fans.
Right.
And you got to be creative. You got to be creative with it because it keeps it enticing. It makes you want to watch.
Exactly. I think it's a lot of fun too to see what kind of, even if it's not that great like in quality, and you just be like, oh, I would have rather these guys just do a regular match in a ring. It's still different, and I think it pushes the envelope and it really tests what we should be doing with wrestling and stuff.
Right.
Well, speaking of other forms of wrestling, let's talk the video game wrestling world. So, not to put myself over, but your thoughts on being a custom in the 2K20 series and also being used in my universe mode, which I think you're kind of booked tomorrow.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, I see some of the dream matches that I get tagged in, and a lot of fun matches, and it's just really interesting. Sometimes you'll be on the same card as Will Ospreay. Sometimes you'll be fighting a Rembrandt Lewis or whatever, and then you'll just be the next show you're wrestling freaking Ace Austin, and it's crazy. Like you never know what to expect from your universe mode, and it's a lot of fun, and I do appreciate being such a big star in your universe mode.
It's so awesome. It's so cool. So what's the best advice another wrestler's given you?
That's tough. I've gotten a lot of good advice. I think that the thing that I've kept to the vest like very closely came from Gargano at the end of the Evolve show that I wrestled. Or I guess I should say weekend, because he told me the second night, because, Evolve does, like, weekend shows. Like, they do one night and then 2 nights. He told me night 2 before they left. He was saying, there's no right or wrong answers to wrestling. And a lot of times people are going to look at what you're doing and tell you that you're wrong and that you're not doing wrestling right. But if you put the passion and you stay committed to who you are, you stay committed to this, when he was talking about the switch wrestling, he said that no one can ever say that you're not respecting wrestling, because you're obviously taking your craft and what you're doing seriously. Keep coming up with ideas. Keep pushing the envelope. Keep learning. There's going to be some matches where it doesn't fit. There's going to be some matches where it fits too well or whatever, And I think advice like that was really helpful. I think that one was really good. something that meant a lot to me to hear Mikey Whipwreck. You know, he's kind of like my wrestling grandfather because he's the trainer of my trainer. And, you know, also Mikey Whipwreck is, you know, he's freaking Mikey Whipwreck, you know. So at the end of the low-key match, he's in the back. And he goes, listen, man, I didn't see what you guys were playing on the big screen because I didn't have the angle. But I heard the crowd. And he said, you did all of that just playing a video game on screen. And you did that with low-key, most importantly of all. He said, there's power to what you're doing. Don't ever stop playing video games. Don't ever stop doing this thing that you're doing because there's something special in it. He said, if you can make low-key play a game with you, there's power to what you're doing in the ring. There's something special about you. He said, I couldn't even get Loki to do that. Loki beat me up. Like, you know, he cursed. He said, Loki beat my old butt up, you know? And, like, I couldn't even get him to, like, you know, tone it down and to, you know, whatever, you know? And he said, the fact that you could get him to play along and to get that reaction out of people, he's like, don't ever stop. Don't ever stop doing that. Don't ever stop being yourself. He said, please, keep pushing on. People are going to say that you're not what wrestling is, but he said people used to say that about ECW. People used to say ECW was never going to last, but ECW ended up changing wrestling forever. And he said, you know, keep working hard, keep doing it, and maybe that could be you. And I thought something like that really meant a lot, you know. I heard the same thing from Tommy Dreamer at House of Hardcore, and I think that was really inspiring too, because a lot of those ECW heads have a similar mindset on wrestling today, and they could easily just be like, oh, you guys all suck or whatever, you know, and it's like, okay, well, that sucks to hear. But no, they want to foster the next generation. They want people to succeed and push wrestling forward, you know?
That's great. That's great advice. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. I love it. So we have a fan tweet from our friend Chris. He said, what is your game of choice when playing Nintendo Switch?
The easiest one is always Smash Ultimate. It's usually already in my Switch anyways, and it's like always on the road with me. It's very easy to just jump into a game and, you know, shut off my brain a little bit and just kind of just mash out combos and just go into autoplay. I'm really good at Smash Ultimate. I have like 900 and something hours put into it, and like I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. That game's really easy to play. Sometimes Mario Kart, if I'm in the mood to be a little bit more casual, you know, but sometimes it bothers me because it can be very wonky and random, and it's kind of just like, I was in first the whole game, and then I got hit with a blue shell. So it's like, you know, sometimes you don't want to be that stressed out.
Okay, so it's funny, you touched on it earlier, though, so let's talk a little bit more. The opportunity you got to not only wrestle the professional Low-Key, but, like you mentioned, play Street Fighter with him in front of a roaring crowd at #NoLimit.
I like how you had to do a real-life hashtag. Like, I didn't know that was a thing we did. Like, #NoLimit. Like, wow.
Sorry, like, it feels like someone was doing that social media the whole time. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay, wow. We're firing from the hip, huh? Wow. No, it's cool, man. I'm just messing with you. It was amazing. You know, I mean, I went into that match genuinely, and I'm not genuinely thinking I might die in this match. I might get beat up really bad, and I might not wrestle again. And I went in there not sure what to expect, but I knew that I had to stick to my guns, and I couldn't forget what got me this opportunity in the first place, you know? So it's like, if I try to wrestle Low-Key, I'm going to lose. You know, if I try to wrestle him pound for pound and all that stuff, it's probably not going to go well. But to me, it's more so the mindset of like, okay, can I get him to play along, though? If I can get him to play along, I might have an opportunity to do something. And for whatever reason, pity, whatever, maybe the years of wrestling and seeing all the craziness now, he decided to play along. And I beat Low-Key. In Street Fighter, of course. In Street Fighter. Let's make sure that's the quote, and not because if he finds out, he's gonna really beat me up.
Nope, we're editing now. We're just gonna make it say he beat Low-Key, and the rest doesn't go in the interview.
Quick, edit this right now.
Oh my god.
Beat Low-Key. That's it.
Yep, that's how I die. But no. It was awesome, and I mean, obviously we know the circumstances going into that show was a tribute show for Maddie, and I think the mindset was, you know, wrestling's supposed to be an escape, and I mean, I think that's the point of me even, you know, doing the interview now and doing Dark and the pandemic, and you know, still trying to be myself. You know, I think that wrestling is supposed to be an escape, and we're supposed to do our best to provide people this escape. Sometimes life is overwhelming, and sometimes life is really difficult and hard and overwhelming and depressing. But if my wrestling, whether it be with games or not, can make you feel a little like, oh, wow, I forgot about my troubles for about 15 minutes, then I think there's real power to that, real good that we're doing. And I think that, I'm really proud that we managed to really, because every other match was dedicated to Maddie, and it was a very big thing. And I think that was really cool about that match. That match was like, no, yeah, of course it was about Maddie, but at the end of the day, we got the people up on their feet, feeling happy and good, laughing, smiling, and I think there's power to that, And it's one of my favorite matches because this was my first name one-on-one. I never wrestled anybody of his caliber one-on-one, so it was also a big opportunity for me, very nerve-wracking. Not just the fact that it's low-key, but it's this is your first big opportunity,
Yeah.
And I thought, the fans are going to turn on me, and they're just going to be like, oh, fuck them up, Loki. Fuck them, I'm just going to get beat up, and I'm like, all right, well, that's going to suck. But I came out, Loki came out, and they started chanting that. But then they started chanting, catch them all, Leroy, catch them all. And those chants started, dueling, and it was equal. And for a brief moment, I was like, even if he beats my butt, in this moment, the fans are putting me on the same level as him. And I think that there's something really beautiful to that. And it was one of those moments where I'm like, wow, this is the Hog faithful. These are my people. And despite any issues that I ever had in wrestling or whatever, I can always count on the Amazura fans to have my back, the House of Glory fans. I love them to death. They're pretty much the only reason I wrestle in Hog, because I love them. I feed off of them so much. They reignite my passion for wrestling every single time I come out, and they hear my music and we fire each other up. Most of the time I come on other venues, I'm very aloof to my switch. I barely acknowledge the crowd, and they understand. But in House of Glory, I can't do that. I can't. They give me too much energy. They give me too much passion. They give me too much, and I have to give that right back to them in that moment. And I love it. I love that relationship with them.
Yeah, so great. I mean, me and April was starting Pokemon chants at the last House of Glory show.
Yes, that show too. I was in my Pokemon phase back then. I was October, November, December. I was pretty solid into my Pokemon run.
Yeah. Leroy can always count on us to be very loud for him. Definitely.
Absolutely.
For you peeps. So what have you been doing? What else have you, besides video games, what else have you been doing to keep busy during the quarantine?
I don't think I've made it a secret that I've been trying to figure out new ways to work out at home. I go out for walks and jogs because being inside all the time, surprisingly enough, does bother me. I like playing video games, but I don't always love being indoors all the time. That's why I love the portability of the Switch, because, I can take it on the road with me and stuff. But in all seriousness, working out a lot. I've been, FaceTiming friends and trying to stay connected virtually, which means a lot. I've been trying to come up with new ideas for wrestling, working on some projects, trying to make new ways to bring cool content to people. Just all sorts of stuff like that. The fun has been in just these are uncertain times, but trying to make certain decisions in the moment. Okay, I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back to a real gym, but I do know what I can make my regimen for the next week going to be. I know what I can have my diet be. I know what I can have my workout look like. I know, and I'm focusing on that. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this, Tomorrow I'm going to go do that, And finding the little things to control my destiny and make the most of it, rather than focusing on what I can't control,
Right. So we have a fan tweet from our friend Beating Faces April. She said, when will the Switch defend its 24/7 title?
Oh, well, you see, the thing about my Switch is that my Switch is also in quarantine. So, I mean, it's very difficult for the Switch to go out there when, the Switch is not considered essential, Apparently, it's a very big controversy,
See, if only Santana knew, he could have pinned the Switch right there. But
wow!
He can't.
I don't know. The Switch is pretty durable. I think I might have kicked out. Santana was right to pick the fight with me and not the Switch.
Oh man. Okay, we'll clip this and tag him.
Yeah.
But
no. Please don't. Oh man, you just gotta get me beat up by people, huh? That's real. That's messed up.
No, not you.
It's all a facade. He just wants to get in trouble now.
Wow.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. When I see you, I'm gonna get some insomnia cookies for you. I got you.
Oh man, don't get me started on all this. That's like the next thing, all the food and the stuff that I miss doing and just being out, you know. But I have faith that things will get back to normal a little bit sooner than later. I know Phase 2 is starting next week, the 15th. So that's exciting. Just trying to get back. I just want to see my friends, and kind of just get back to the grind. I know the gyms and independent wrestling are gonna be like the last things to open up, but I've done a pretty decent job of making a regimen and making a lifestyle out of kind of like, okay, right now I'll spend this amount of time in games, then I'll work out for about 2 or 3 hours, go out for a run, go out for a walk, enjoy a nice day or whatever, and then I'll come back home and finish off with like maybe catching up on some anime or whatever,
Yeah.
Like last week, I was watching the show called The Midnight Gospel on Netflix. Really dope show made by the creator of Adventure Time. It's like based off of this podcast this comedian used to do. Really cool, really insightful stuff. I recommend it. It's a good watch for people.
Awesome. By the way, Matt Awesome said in the chat, Chankla wants his rematch.
Chankla wants his rematch. Well, tell Chankla, the Switch says to tell Chankla to get a coronavirus test because Chankla is out there on the streets walking everywhere, and the Switch is not about risking its health for that.
Wait, right before you go into your next questions, there's stuff in the YouTube chat. So Cartier says pancakes or waffles?
Depends on my mood. I would say most of the time I'm more in the mood for waffles because I feel like waffles, like they can go with more stuff, chicken and waffles, and I just feel like waffles have like a whole different experience to it. Pancakes are cool, but I feel like if it's not like special pancakes, like with banana or chocolate chip pancakes, it's not really the same. Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
man.
But I would say waffles, but I do like both of them.
Oh man. Cupid Girl asks, what games are you most excited to play in the future?
I know Paper Mario's coming out next month, so that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I haven't played Paper Mario in a long time. I skipped the Wii U game. I didn't play that one because I didn't hear great things about it. But I'm looking forward to this one. It looks interesting. It looks different. Besides that, I'm looking forward to it doesn't count as a new game. I'm looking forward to the expansion pass of Pokemon, the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
That should be fun. Obviously, The Last of Us 2. I just need to figure out how to install that game on my PS4 because it's apparently like 100 gigs of memory.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so I got to figure that out. But once I do, I'll be pretty excited for that game. Yeah, like gaming's looking pretty good right now. Just those games alone are probably going to keep me settled. I just got Xenoblade Chronicles, which I just got like literally last week. I'm enjoying it. Not really big into RPGs, but like I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot.
Cool. Go ahead, Ray.
Okay. I'm just chilling here. Okay, so if there was one person you could face again in a heartbeat, who would it be?
That's tough. I would say the three on my mind would probably go like I would want to face Anthony Gangone again because I feel like our match was really good and it didn't need to be really good. It could have just been okay, especially because of the circumstances. There was no kind of story, no kind of build. It was just like, okay, random CZW show. All right, these two are gonna wrestle, and so we had to kind of have our story in the match of like he's playing keep away with my Switch. He tries to break it. I get angry, and it really brought something else out of me. And I would love to kind of like, get some payback on him and like kind of explore that a little bit. Smiley's another guy who I wish I could wrestle like forever. I feel like every single match we'd have would be completely different. And then the third guy, I would say it's kind of a tie, but I would say I'm leaning towards Pinky Sanchez. Like I love Pinky.
Yeah.
El Presidente.
Yes.
I love him to death. And we wrestled a little bit in a 4-way at Pizza Party Wrestling in December, and it was a lot of fun. And I just want to keep wrestling him. He's just the way he thinks about wrestling is so different. And I just want to be around more people who think differently so that it can help me grow and I can like think of different perspectives to have on wrestling and different mindsets. But it was so fun wrestling him. I laughed so much in a match. I've never laughed that much in a match before, and I kind of selfishly want to keep doing that.
Awesome. So who is someone you still haven't got the chance to work with that you would love to face?
There's a lot of people. Like there's like the dream matches that like I think a lot of people know and I've made very clear. And then there's like the independent matches that I kind of feel like will happen eventually. So I'm gonna start with the ones that I think will happen sooner than later. Like I would love to wrestle Effie. I feel like we both know about each other's work, and he's a really cool dude, and I'd love to wrestle him. I'd love to wrestle Faye. I feel like just us being in the same ring together would just be so crazy. I would not be surprised if she tried to twerk on my Switch. It would just be very, very funny.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. And then those guys, Warhorse, Danhausen, if it's even possible, those guys would be really cool. I only recently, like in the past year, became familiar with their work, and they made me instant fans. I just eat up all their characters. Like it's so cool. And then if I could get a little bit more into the dream match category, see then I guess the obvious one that people have been talking about since like last fall, Orange Cassidy.
Oh yes.
That would be the big one. That would be a big one. And then, of course, someone that I look up to a lot, Kenny Omega would be another guy. I feel like Kenny Omega wrote the book on being a very big video game wrestling-y type of guy, and he, I kind of fell into those shoes in a new way, and I think it'd be really cool to wrestle him. Also because, I genuinely believe he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now today, and I think that when you wrestle him, he elevates you, and you have to elevate to be able to match him. So,
right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oof. I like these lists though. So we have a fan tweet from our girl Rhea. Shout out to you. Who is your favorite Batman villain?
My favorite Batman villain. See, I don't ever want to say Joker. I don't ever want to say Joker because everybody says that. So for me, I would say my favorite villain would probably be Two-Face. I think Two-Face would probably be my favorite villain. Obviously, we're not counting Joker, but I like Two-Face's story, especially in the animated series and in the Dark Knight Rises movie. The Dark Knight movie. I think both adaptations are really good, especially the animated series because you really see his fall from grace, being the district attorney and stuff. And I don't know, I just always like this idea of this multifaceted character who has two sides to him. Like he wants to do good, but then he also has this side of him that just wants to also do evil. I always enjoy dualities like that.
Cool.
Interesting. So it's funny though, because this next question of mine though, it kind of got answered already.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna ask it because it's on the list.
Okay.
So we heard about dream matches. You mentioned already, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, even the best bout Kenny Omega. But let's change up what I was gonna ask. Instead of a dream match that you would want to be in, what's one that you would want to see?
Ooh.
Be it independent level or be it on a major stage?
I think if I wanted to see dang, that's hard. That's a really hard one. Because a lot of them happened in the past year. Like I always wanted to see, Private Party and the Young Bucks. I always wanted to see that one. That one happened. I always kind of wanted to see Orange Cassidy on a grand stage, and he kind of got there, and now we see all these dream matches happening.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think that one I would like to see. I think I really would like to see. At least now. I'm sure it's happened in the past, and it has. I would love to see Pac and Ricochet right now. I feel like that match right now would be so
good.
Crazy as a indie fan. I know that match has probably happened a million years ago and whatever, but I want to see it now. Another match that I think would be really, really fun, if we're gonna get dream matchy and stuff, is I would really like to see Kenny versus Cena. I feel like that match would be so out there and so different. Not in terms, I just want to see, I would love to just see the promos, going into it. It'd be really fun. But, I just think that's such a big match. And I feel like every top wrestler's kind of wrestled John Cena.
Right.
Except for, Kenny, for obvious reasons. But I would love to see it.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good. So,
there you go.
what have you been doing to keep in ring shape during all this?
My workouts have been really cardio based, a lot of them. Like I can't lift heavy weights because I don't have heavy weights. So a lot of it is very cardio and CrossFit inspired workouts. A lot of motion based, a lot of HIIT type of stuff. I definitely do a lot of running and walking because I'm very sedentary. I think all of us are. And I think that's very important to stay moving, to stay limber, to not just be sitting on my butt all day or laying down all day. So I've been trying to stay active, running. Running is ups and downs because some days I'll run and I'll feel amazing. Some days I'll run and it'll suck. But I feel like as long as I'm consistently running at least 2 or 3 times a week, I'm good. That's been my most important thing to that. Besides that, I'll do some yoga occasionally. I'll do some stretching. I guess I shouldn't really call it yoga. I'll just say I'll do some stretching on a mat. But besides that, that's really all I can do. And then my regular workouts where I'll do a lot of calisthenics and, some resistance band workouts.
Cool.
Awesome. But unfortunately, as we narrow it down here, I think we're down to at least our last few questions from me and Tiff.
Right.
So I'll give you my last one here. So my last question, well, it's more of a statement. I always end it like this, especially when I have good friends on the podcast. So, Leroy, from training together to growing to a great friendship, I truly want to say I'm glad to have you as one of my close friends, being proud of what you've accomplished. I leave you with this, though. One day I know we'll definitely share a ring, and I just hope to make you proud, brother.
Oh, of course, man. Don't. You're gonna make me blush. So that was even a really.
See, I do that every time.
This is his thing.
The friends that I've had on, I always do it.
That's his thing.
I was gonna say that wasn't a question, but I love you, man. Thank you for that. Like, I mean, you'll do me proud just being in the ring, man. Like, just being in the ring, doing your thing. Yeah, I'm not somebody anybody needs to make proud. I'm always happy for everybody just chasing the dream and getting better and stuff.
Awesome. Kill it, Ray. You guys are gonna tear me apart if this happens in the ring. So I don't know.
Yes.
I can't. So don't play with my heart here, okay?
All right.
All right. So we're gonna finish this off with one final question on my end.
Yes.
So with the different experience you've had in since the last interview, is there any advice that you would give to current independent wrestlers out there?
Certainly. My most important thing is always just find something about yourself and commit to it. Like, just commit, and like I'm the video game guy, and I commit to that, and I think that, like, if there's any reason for my success, I feel like it's the fact that I'm committed to that, and I think a lot of times people don't really know who they are. So maybe for a hot week, they'll be all about being dark and edgy and angry and angsty. And the next week they're all positive and like, yeah, motivational. Yeah, I'm in the gym. Yeah, let's get it, guys. And it's like, I don't understand you. And I don't think most people understand you, And people will see themselves have like 50 likes or something and they'll think that they're doing the right thing. And it's like, no, stay committed to something. If you're about something, stay about it, And I think that, like, some guys do it and they don't get the same amount of likes or whatever. And they're not sure if they're doing it right. And my thing is also just commit, just stay focused. Stay posting your content, stay consistent, stay regular. With quarantine and stuff, I feel like I should be seeing more content than ever, This is ample time to just cut promos, to film content, to film vignettes, and, just to be creative and try new things. And I think that, like, if you know who you are, there's so much power to that, versus just being some guy who hasn't said anything for, like, 3 months, because there's no wrestling.
Right.
Yeah, and I think social media is such an underrated part of the game that people don't talk enough about. Like Effie, Warhorse, Danhausen, they wrote the book on indie wrestling today and how to get your character that platform and that audience. Because it's like, I can't, I'm not going to lie to you. I've never seen a full match of theirs, with the exception of Effie. But I love their character. I love their shtick. And it's just like, I don't even need to. And I think there's so much power in that, because most independent wrestling fans who follow you aren't going to really be that familiar with your work. But if you have content and you have it all organized in a nice way and your Instagram is cool and your Twitter is cool, then people are just they're going to fall in love with you even more. So that when they have an opportunity to say, oh, at Big Game Leroy, let me check this out. It's like, oh, whoa, I really like that guy. Oh, cool. He wrestled low key. I didn't even know that. Oh my gosh, I like him even more. And that's how it's got to go,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I look
Gotta
for
be
your
eye catching.
Yeah, and I look for your content even like now. Like you guys, like I still want to know what you guys are doing even when you're not wrestling, even if you're cutting a promo and things like that. I look for that stuff. Even if you're doing silly videos. I mean, our friend Nimrod's doing like cooking videos and I was like popping for it.
Yeah, no, that's the stuff that I'm talking about. Like I think that a lot of those BWF guys, like I'm just waiting for them to get more of a platform because they do it so well. Like Ace Andrews too good. Like these guys post every day almost, you know, and these guys are so consistent with like being who they are, you know.
Yeah.
Like oh my gosh, those guys are so awesome. Karen, Brother Greatness, I love all they're doing with what they do with the internet and social media, and they're gonna kill it. Like Karen Van Bam is like my favorite women's wrestler right now, and I mean I know she's gonna keep on killing it, and you know get more of that audience, and people are just gonna eat up her shtick all the way.
She's great. She's great. All the people, like, you guys are great. Like, I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to watch this journey with you guys. So, it's crazy, right? Like, I think about all this stuff. I don't know if you saw that tweet that I had put out that I was like, well, you know, Leroy kind of photobombed my pic with Private Party and didn't tell me. And then the times that I scared you with the gray poupon and...
Yes.
Me
I mean, you
screaming
know,
out of my car.
Recognize me. I gotta like, you know.
Yeah.
If you didn't recognize me,
Listen.
what else was I supposed to do?
See, I still say it, like, you're clearly in the picture. I see our friend EJ there. I saw Cruz. It's like,
you know,
you didn't tell the picture that they're behind you.
I didn't see them. You know, Isaiah and Quinn are tall, and I didn't see. I saw there was people, but I didn't see why. But the thing is, first of all,
I was gonna say we're about the same height.
Ray, hush your mouth, because first of all, Ray, hush, you weren't there, okay? Shh. So anyway.
Wow.
Leroy
That's
did
great.
not even freaking tell me, but he clearly spotted me and then told me later that he's like, check your picture. And I was like, you son of a bitch, you didn't tell me.
Wow.
So,
Oh my gosh. The cursing,
wow, we're getting provocative now in this, end.
Maybe,
see, first she misses you, now she's pushing.
No, I love Leroy. I mean,
crazy.
See, first it was trying to get you in trouble.
I
Yeah.
love Leroy to death. He knows it. You know, when I see you, we're going to celebrate because I'm so proud of you within the last year. So, and it means so much like that you guys like embraced me, you know, as well. I really so excited, and I'm so excited to see where you're going to go from now. So, congratulations, really.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. That's the fun in this. You know, we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what the destination is, but the journey there is going to be fun.
yeah. Oh my goodness. So, guys, we're also sponsored by Power Slam TV, so make sure you guys go check that out. You can get a free month trial if you use the code NOHOLDSFREE. So go check it out. There's a lot of great content on there. So go
you can see Big Game Leroy.
Yes, you can find him.
Earlier with Anthony Gangone, it's on there.
Yes, go check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah. See, if you use the code Leroy, you can get a free month.
I'll do it right after NXT takeover.
Oh man. So anyway, I guess oh wait, Leroy, plug all your stuff because I mean I can't believe you got merch now. Woo! I gotta get some merch from all you guys.
Yes. So you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Big Game Leroy. I have the links to my pro wrestling tees in my bio. It should be prowrestlingtees.com/buy Big Game Leroy. I believe I have the URL right. And you know, you can get all my merch there. I have 2 t-shirt designs. I'm going to be updating it consistently at prowrestlingtees.com. You can also just go on there, search me up, Big Game Leroy. Pretty easy guy to find. And, you know, be ready for the switch up because that merch is top quality and very big game energy.
I love it. And all his links are listed below in the description, guys, if you want to like find it easier that way. So make sure you go get some love and some likes. What?
He had to throw that in there. No. We got a comment on the YouTube from Adam Kane. Before you leave, Leroy, he has a message. He hates you.
Oh my gosh, he hates me. Yeah, that guy. I don't even remember who that guy is. I think I wrestled him. He's very forgetful, very easy to forget, not memorable at all.
Oh my god!
Wait! No, I do remember him. He got hit in the head with the guitar by Jeff Jarrett. I do remember that.
Wait! Wasn't he the guy that we kicked out from the Elks Lodge though? He interrupted Rob Blatt in a
Yes,
promo was?
I do remember that. I thought that was someone else.
Yeah, I forget now. I don't know.
I don't know either. I already forgot. Who are we talking about?
I don't know. Let's wrap it up, though. We gotta wrap it up.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
NXT to watch a little
All
bit.
right,
so
guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. This
All
was
right,
amazing.
guys. That makes episode 33 of Under the Ropes. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys again so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Boy.
There's something you owe me.